Good morning, folks. It's Jen from algonquinblog.com. I hope everyone's having a good Sunday. I certainly am. The sun is shining and it's making me long to be out in that park. Today, I'm continuing with part 3 of our pre-planning series. Today, I'm focusing on canoe trips and what you need to pre-plan for a canoe trip. First thing everybody needs is a map. Going into the wilderness of Algonquin Park without a park map will probably get you lost unless you've been there a million times before and you take the same route all the time and you know where you're going. However, I still recommend carrying a map with you in a dry bag. That way, if you do decide to change your mind and you want to go somewhere else when you arrive at the park, then you can. Just make sure you tell the guys at the gate if you change your mind. So you can buy paper maps at Algonquin Outfitters at Algonquin Park. You can order them online. But the easiest way to get a map for at least this time of the year for pre-planning is to go online. I use algonquinmap.com or Jeff's Map. This is my go-to map for planning because I can see it all in front of me. I can zoom in where I need to zoom in. I can zoom out where I need to zoom out. And I can take a look at it and see the entire trip. That being said, Algonquin does have an online version of their map. So we're going to go to their website. We go to Virtual Algonquin and Canoe Routes Map online. And it does give you the Canoe Routes Map. You can also go to their sites of planning your trip. And they have different questions, different access points, everything you need to know about planning your trip for Algonquin Park. The most important thing is to know your fees. So the fees for any backcountry camping trip varies differently based on how many people are going. So for someone like myself who is 30-something years old, the cost will be $11.75 per person per night. For our younger kids from ages 6 to 17, it's $5 per person per night. So this is what you need to budget for yourself when you're planning a canoe trip. Back to Jeff's map. So we have a map. We know the fees. Now we get to choose an idea of where we're going. Each route is different. Not every route is going to be the same, obviously, because it gives you different topography, different looks, different portages. You need to plan according to your skill. If you do not plan according to your skill, then your trip is not going to be worthwhile for you. You're not going to enjoy it. It's either going to be way too hard or it's going to be so easy you're bored. So plan according to you and what you want to do, what you want to get out of it, and the skill that you have. I'm kind of gearing this towards the beginner canoers right now, the beginner canoe trippers, because they're the ones who need to know some great routes that they can take on their first trip with. My go-to route that I like to do for beginners is Smoke Lake to Parkside Bay. So Smoke Lake is here, right across from Canoe Lake. And it's a very simple trip. Paddle down Smoke Lake, go down and through Ragged, up and over into Parkside. Took us about 5 hours or so to get to Parkside Bay when we did it last time, but that being said, we also had beginner canoers with us. So it took a little bit more time because they weren't sure of what they were doing. The other option, and this is the option I'm looking at myself for this summer and kind of pre-planning my own trip, is to go into Canoe Lake, which is the major drop-off location and send-off for Algonquin Park, and then go all the way up here to Tom Thompson. It is a pretty decent trip in the fact that there's one portage and one portage only, unless the riverbed is dry. which it shouldn't be when I go. And it takes you along some historical stuff. I'm a history buff, so my trips always pertain to what I want to get out of it, which is I want to know the history of the park. For you, you may just be, get me to an island so my kids can jump off the island or sunbathe on a rock or something. You need to decide what you want out of it. So now that I'm looking, I know that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lakes and a bit of a river to get through to Tom Thompson. Okay, that's doable in a day. It's also doable as a solo tripper because I only have to worry about one portage and the rest of the time my gear can stay in my canoe. So now that I've got kind of an idea of where I want to go, I'm going to go into my handy dandy canoe trip list. This is just a simple, basic spreadsheet that I've created over the years. It started off with my dad's. This is his basic principle. And now that I go, he sent it to me. I have the dates that I'm going. I want to go on my birthday. So June 21st, 22nd, 23rd. I also have the days of the week that they are. This is so I know if I have to book time off work. It's the easiest way for me to do it. I can see it and I say, oh wait, I need to book off the Friday. I also have my access point that I'm going to, as well as the route that I'm taking. So Canoe Lake to Tom Thompson. I need one permit because it's just me. And if Dad comes, I still only need one permit because it's just for that one site. I don't need to worry about 2 or more sites. Now, I can get into the nitty-gritty stuff. And this pre-planning stuff can be done from now until your trip. It's going to change. It's going to constantly change. You may decide now that, yeah, I do want hot dogs for lunch and I want steak and potatoes for dinner and I want bacon and eggs more. Well, maybe, you don't want hot dogs now. You want something else. This is changeable. And until the week before or the 2 days before your trip, it can change. Once you go grocery shopping, then it's a different story. With this, I print this out with me and take it with me to my shopping, and I have all of the numbers I need of each. So, I need 6 eggs. Well, that's just a dozen eggs. And I need a package of English muffins and some Tang. And, it's easy to find. Down here, I have my equipment list. Now, this is taken in account during my inventory at the end of the season. If there is something on this list that needs fixed, say, one of my tents has a hole in it, I star it, and then down here, I put the star, and I say, needs repaired. That way I know I have to get it done before my trip. My backpacks, for example. If my backpacks have a hole in it, again, I'm gonna put a star beside it and say needs repair. My lantern, maybe I need mantles. This is all things that you need to take into account while you're pre-planning. Look at your gear, see what needs fixed, see what's okay, see what needs replaced. For the beginners out there, if this all seems really, really overwhelming, I am going to take you to an amazing place. Welcome to AlgonquinOutfitters.com. Algonquin Outfitters has been doing canoe trip packages for as long as I can remember, even longer I know. And they make it so easy. You just call this number here, and it'll get you in touch with one of their reservation specialists. They have a couple on site, so they're able to answer your questions. They will ask you questions like, where do you want to go? How many people in your party? Do you need outfitting? And when they say outfitting, let's go to Canoe Trips. They mean, do you need equipment? If you've never done this before and you don't have any gear whatsoever, I highly suggest giving Algonquin Outfitters a call, because they're going to hook you up with the equipment you need. This being your first trip, if you don't like it, you don't want to do it again, you're not going to want to have all this equipment laying around. So why purchase equipment for your first trip when you can rent it? Excuse me. And give it a try first. So you can go with their overnight trip packages. And they have all these different packages. This one, the Ultimate Canoe Trip, gives you everything you need for your canoe trip. Once it loads. They will give you your tents, your canoe, your life jackets, your bailer, rope, and whistle, your safety kit, in other words. You will have your food planned out for you. You will have your tents. You will have your sleeping mats. You will have your backpacks. Everything is a part of this Ultimate Canoe Trip package. It is expensive. However, for someone who doesn't have any of this stuff, it is worth it. I highly suggest that you call Algonquin Outfitters if you need to, and they will help you out. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation about pre-planning. I hope you've learned something from this presentation of pre-planning. If you do have any questions, feel free to email me or tweet me. I am more than happy to answer them. And I hope that you have a great time this year with wherever you're going, whether it be a base camp at a campground on the Highway 60 corridor or out into the bush for the first time. Enjoy your trip, guys.